Looks like the broadcast was deleted on Facebook. Try creating a new broadcast. Let's see. All right. Well, we're going to go live on. You are we are currently live. All right, y'all. Listen, welcome to the Work and Play replay. We're gonna really have a good conversation because today's episode is with a really, really dope human being. Now, a lot of us are talking about social media. I think the most interesting thing about this guest today is that he navigated kind of like three different identities. You have your one identity that's in person sometimes, your professional identity, and then you have your personal identity that's on social media. Well, this guest today, Mr. Vigilante, he went from artist to actor, and then he also went into being able to navigate these two identities on social media, all the way up to getting a blue check. Now, we all think, for those of us who don't have a blue check, we feel like, one, we can't get the blue check, or two, people with the blue checks are like so much more superior than us. But what's really cool about this guy, he's really, really down to earth, and he teaches you how do you bridge that gap. So it's not all about this like, oh, he's popular. Oh my God, oh my God. He's super duper down to earth. He's willing to give you the information. So, like he said, if you're willing to learn, apply the information, then this guy's for you. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring him up to the stage. Mr. Vigilante, Remarcus Steele, how are you?
That was a great introduction. I feel great.
I'm glad you're here.
I'm glad to be here.
Listen, we got to start with something. We have to start with what seems to be pretty heavy. But first, before we get into your story, before we get into your journey, why don't you introduce yourself to the folks?
Well, for those of you who don't know, my name is Remarcus. I go by Vigilante. My last name is Steele. So if you see Remarcus Steele somewhere, you see Vigilante somewhere. That's one and the same person. I started off as an artist, merged into acting, merged into brand partnerships, marketing, influencing, and being a public figure, being a philanthropist in the forex and financial community. And now I'm just an all around just mogul at this point.
Yeah, and you're willing to give the information.
Right. And human encyclopedia, so to speak.
Human encyclopedia. That's really good because when you were breaking down these levels of like being an actor, being a backstage actor, all the way to like working your way from backstage to front of the line, being a main actor, and then like the social nuances of being able to do that, I was like, man, this man, he was gonna teach me something. If you saw the episode, I was like, goodness gracious, he is teaching me so much, and I wasn't always there, but I was learning, wasn't I?
Yeah, you was learning. You,
I was learning.
I watched the episode back, and I could see the awe moments that you had. It was a lot of them.
Listen, when I'm like, ooh, got it. I'm like, that's where we at with it. So, y'all, we are currently on YouTube. So, thank you guys for watching. If you like this episode and if you like this conversation, go ahead and like, share, and subscribe. Share this to somebody who actually needs the information because here's the thing. Between you being an artist, you being an actor, and you sharing social media gems, you never kind of know where you're going to go. So, if you guys have questions for Vigilante, go ahead and drop it in the comments. So, let's start here. Information. I just dropped the clip with you saying information became available to us as soon as we came. Now we're coming off of Juneteenth, right? So
Hmm.
in the spirit of Juneteenth, as soon as Juneteenth happened, information was technically available to us. And one of the things that you're sharing is like, listen, we have the information. It's not secret anymore. And a lot of people think getting the blue check is secret. So why don't you start with like why you decided to start teaching people how to navigate the social media space and get the blue check?
Well, because the social media space started to take over the promotion aspect of everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's not until you get a podcast or become an artist or become an actor or any realm of entertainment that you realize that promotion is 90% of everything. Most of these people that we see in these movies, they don't know how to act, but they have really great fan bases. So it's going to sell. And then they kind of learn how to act the more movies that they do. And then
Mm-hmm.
people give them a grace period because they like them, because they bought into their personality and the way that they marketed themselves. So now what I wanted to do was I wanted to tap into that because not everybody is allowed to have the machine behind them. Not everybody's going to get signed at Universal or have Lionsgate produce their movie. So you have to learn how to market yourself so that they know why they're putting their marketing dollars behind you, how they're going to recoup it back and make sure that everything is going to be feasible and ROI is going to be on point without
Mm-hmm.
having to do too much calculation. Nobody wants to think hard. They want to work
Mm-hmm.
smart, not hard. So
Right.
you make it easy for them. Come turnkey. And in order for you to come turnkey, you got to master social media because social media is everywhere. I can tap into all 100,000 of my followers with one post, or I can knock on all 100,000 followers' door for the next 10 years. I choose the one post. It's a lot
Yeah.
of effort. It's very hot outside. I don't want to do that.
That's a millennial style, ain't it?
Yeah, so
I was just
extremely.
talking to somebody who was like, talking about guerrilla marketing and how you just go door to door, banging on people's door. And I think that is definitely, obviously, it's an effective strategy. But one of the things that you've done is learn to master social media. So you mentioned ROI, right? And I think a lot of people out here are kind of posting to be posting, don't necessarily have a strategy, and don't necessarily know how they're going to recuperate that money after they promote themselves.
Mhm.
Tell us a little bit about your journey. We didn't talk about this on the podcast. Like, what was it like for you to just be using, like, okay, so let me take a step back. Social media can be seen as a tool and it can be seen as a toy.
Mhm.
When did you transition from using it as a toy to using it as a tool?
Well, really, it's always going to be a mixture of both.
Mm,
Like, if I post up a funny meme and it's just something to get the people laughing, and that moment is a toy. And if I put up something where I'm like, yo, we're going to do a Million Man March tomorrow, then there's nothing that's playful about that. It's a tool. So it all depends on the type of fan base that you have and the way that you choose to market to them.
mhm,
When it became more serious to me was, I would say, my transition point. It was two pivotal points. When I did my freestyle on Streets 94.5 and people saw me rapping on, because we both live in Atlanta, so we know how huge Streets 94.5 is, and for you to have a freestyle on there, it's major. And when I
mhm.
put it on my page and I saw the reaction and I saw how it was, the clip was going viral all over Instagram, I'm like, okay, I can continue to fight this battle of trying to gain fame on ground level, or I
Mhm.
can utilize this energy that I have surrounded around what's going on with this post and capitalize off of it. And so I did. A few months later, I got into the movie Little. That was my first theater appearance. So now I'm using all of Little's rollout, movie wise, in
Mhm.
order for me to capitalize on the eyes that are going to be seen on the movie when it comes out, because it's already going to theaters. I ain't got to pay for it. I'm in it.
Right. So you just
So
utilize their promotion.
utilizing their promotion, and
Mhm.
which is essentially the exact same thing I'm doing. Not to skip ahead, but the exact same thing I'm doing right now with the celebrity boxing, whether it's going to be on Showtime or HBO or wherever it's going to be on. That's my new camera. I'm
Talk
gonna.
about the celebrity boxing just a little bit because we didn't get into
Yeah,
that. What's going
yeah.
on?
Well, what do you want to know about it?
So, what is celebrity boxing? Are you boxing?
I'm boxing.
What? So, wait a minute. This is your fourth endeavor. Is that what I'm hearing?
This is my most obscure outlier endeavor. I would say that.
How'd you get into boxing?
Well, about 2 years ago, I decided that I wanted to get into combat training because
Hmm.
I want to be in Creed 3 and I want to be in Equalizer 3 and I want to be in these Tom Cruise movies jumping over cars and stuff like that. I feel like I've done everything stationary in acting, and that's why I decided to grow out my beard and to get piercings and stuff like that, is because I'm ready for the next level. And
Hmm.
in order for you to do that, you have to be willing to use your body as a muse to show people what it is that you're willing to do to get to the next level
Like you can become the character.
wholeheartedly.
Mm-hmm.
So now I decided I wanted to do combat training. So I started boxing, and then I realized that I'm actually really good at this. And the cardio is amazing. And that's why I have that photo that's up on my Instagram right now of my body shift, because that wasn't the same body I had when I did my first interview with you.
Yeah.
Over time, it just sculpted into something beautiful. And I'm so proud of it. And I just said, I want to keep this up. As time rolled by, I started having different boxing coaches, and I found a boxing coach I really like here in Douglasville, and he put me in the ring with one of his amateur fighters. So after getting popped in my mouth about 3 or 4 times, I went to the bathroom after one of my sparring sessions, and I took my mouthpiece out, and there was blood in my mouthpiece. And I told myself, if I'm gonna do this, and I'm really gonna do this, then I have to actually get serious about this and start to hone in on the craft of what it's like to be a boxer. So from that day on, I decided to take my training more serious. I doubled up on all of my workouts. And a few months later, Head Crack from 107.9 was
Mm.
fighting Kimbo Slice Jr. and he asked me to be his sparring partner on.
I didn't even know Kimbo Slice had a son.
Yeah, he got a son. Yeah,
And he's fire.
man, he's huge.
Oh, okay.
He is huge, and he's following his dad's footsteps in the fighting space. So
Mhm.
when I saw that happen, I'm like, oh, okay, who else is on the card? Black China, Kenny Rock, Tony Rock's, Chris Rock's little brother, Tony Rock's little brother, and all these other people. And then the CEO of Celebrity Boxing reaches out to me and he's like, "Yo, would you like to be on the next card?" And I'm like, "Of course I would, because I know what boxers get paid, and I know the type of arenas that are filled. It's hundreds of thousands of people that are watching
Mhm.
those people, so it's marketing dollars out the wazoo." And so this
Yeah.
is it's perfect for somebody like myself. And I've been in training for the past 2 years. The only difference now is that I'll have a legitimate training camp and I'll have the eyes of the actual boxing networks on me now. So it all just makes sense.
Man, I don't understand how you pick up on these opportunities. So here's the thing. What I love about we talked about this on the podcast. You said that you want to make money off of your life as a passion project. And I think that's talking in the vein of work and play, honestly and truly. But the thing that I also appreciate about you is you're willing to break down the levels of exposure that some people are willing to go up to, right? You mentioned the
Mm-hmm.
Denzels and like the Morris Chestnuts of the world, right? But then you also mentioned like the pecking order.
Mm-hmm.
The way you describe your story, you've been able to navigate the industries without like having to worry about, oh, I'm trying to be the next Denzel. You're like, I'm going to capitalize off of music, then I'm going to capitalize off of acting and like the backstage, which a lot of people can do here in Atlanta. They can go from backstage to front to main character, and maybe backstage because their schedule is flexible like that. But then let's say they also have like multiple passions. Now you're in boxing. How do you maintain, like, how do you describe your purpose? Because a lot of people would just want to be Kimbo Slice. A lot of people would just want to be Denzel Washington. Or a lot of people would just want to be name the artist, Trey Songz, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is it about you and your purpose that says, listen, I'm going to capitalize these markets without having to worry about being like famous, like big star?
My my work my work makes me feel really good when I'm active, when I'm moving around. I was just at church the other day and they were talking about how David got chosen. Not to get too religious.
Come on,
They were
bring it.
talking about they were talking about how David got chosen and how
Mhm.
David had so many other brothers who were eligible to be in the position of royalty. But David was the outcast and he was the only person who was actually working in the yard with the sheep, and how the person who came to find the person for that position was so anxious to meet all of the brothers that he didn't even sit down and he was royalty. And
Mhm.
how they said, "Do you have any more brothers left after all of the other brothers got eliminated?" And he said, "Yes, I have one more. His name is David. He's in the yard. He's tending to the sheep. I don't think that he's going to be it, but I'll let you see him." And when he walked in, he smelled like sheep. He was hard at work, but he was the one. He was the chosen one. And it was the fact that he let his work speak for what he could do rather than him chase the accolade. See, a lot of people want to be famous. I never wanted to be famous. I just wanted to be accepted in the acting industry. And it's not mine. That's the first thing. I respect hierarchy. This industry is not mine. I'm a guest. Everybody in here is a guest.
Mhm.
So that's why when you step on people's toes, you get blackballed because it's not yours. So I've always
That's
been
like
big. Yeah.
that right there.
Hmm.
So let me unpack that because you
Okay.
also talked about systems on the podcast.
Yeah.
It's like you have learned how to, navigate in the system without being like taken into, like without internalizing it. The fact that you're navigating the system. You said it's not yours.
Not
So like
mine.
when did you develop that philosophy or that understanding like it's not yours?
From doing background. When I was doing background, I realized that when you go on set, you are the least important person that's here, but you play such a pivotal position in the movie coming out the way that it comes out.
Mm.
So a person can literally, like, let's say that I invite Arylle to the BET Awards, and she gets stopped at the gate, and the person goes, and then they look over at me, and then I go, and then that's when they go. And that's literally the turning point in you being allowed in and not allowed in. Once you
Okay.
learn how to respect that, and once you learn how to become one of the people who positions themselves to always be in position to be like, then you good. But until then, you have to respect the fact that you're not that and
Mm.
work your way up to that.
Did you have to do some self-talk? Because that basically sounds like getting rid of your ego.
Yeah, you have to kill your ego. I was just talking about this the other day. In order for a man to survive in a relationship and just in
Mhm.
life in general, he has to kill his ego. And that's what I
Mhm.
love about boxing, is that it don't matter how big and bad I feel like I am. When I hopped in that ring and that dude popped me in my mouth a couple times, it didn't matter how many movies I was in and the deals and all of this and all of the money and all of that. None of that mattered. What mattered is this bell rung, we have on gloves, and you're my opponent. That's what matters.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's the same thing whenever I get a script or whenever I'm doing anything. Everything that I've done, I put it away. This is my work right now. And I
Mhm.
need to do the best that I can do to make sure that this is better than anything that I've ever done and anything that anybody else has ever done. And that's what always propels me to the next level.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Talk about ego. For those of you guys who are just joining us on Instagram, for sure, and those of you guys who are on YouTube, we're having a conversation with Mr. Remarcus Vigilante Steel. One, I really love your demeanor. I love the fact that you get a chance to just kind of you just talk, right? But then
Mm-hmm.
you also sound like you have a good handle on navigating like this up and coming vibe that we have here in Atlanta, where it's like influencers are becoming more bigger, right? Not more bigger, but bigger. People want to get into the acting career and they don't know how. And then people want to get into the music career and they don't know how. And you've been able to kind of transition through all of them. So those of you guys who are interested, if you're still on Instagram, go ahead and join us on YouTube. You can click the link in my bio and join us by and have a conversation with us. And for those of you guys who are on YouTube, thank y'all for being here. Listen, Vigilante. And I'm kind of going back and forth between Remarcus and Vigilante because
That's all
that's
good.
what it's like when you Google him. He's like, oh, you can pull up either way.
Don't worry, yeah.
So I want some navigation tips for those who desire. Like this is the Work and Play podcast, and I'm not the only person who desires my view of what work and play looks like. Somebody might say, I want to turn my life into a passion project as well. But a lot of my audience already are still in their 9 to 5 and they're still in corporate America. So they're in corporate America and they're trying to figure out how do I leverage my skills. I think that so I was reading a book. It's called Choose Yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Be happy, make millions. Be happy, make millions. Be great, or something like that. And it's talking about like if you strive to be great, then you'll automatically experience failure, right? Because if you're trying to be the greatest one in the room, then there's only 1% available, right? But if you recognize that you're mediocre and you notice you know how to navigate, then you can make $1 million. You can spend time with your wife. You can go home. You can live the life that you want to live. So I think a lot of us are like shooting for the stars, but discrediting the moon, if I would say that right. And it sounds like you have figured out how to like kind of shoot for the stars, be okay with the moon, or know how to manage the moon and the stars. I'm not sure how you would describe it, but for someone who's in their 9 to 5 and they want to get to where you are, what's that first thing that you would suggest they leverage?
Well, the first thing that I'm gonna say is that there's so many different ways to interpret what would be the best way to catapult from where you are. Everybody's story is so custom, and everybody's going to have a different journey. And I think that that may be one of the mistakes that a lot of people make, is when they read and hear certain articles and certain stuff that they kind of cookie cutter it to their situation. And me myself, people don't know that I've stayed at home with my parents until I was 27, and I did that on purpose because there was
Ooh.
always a stigma that you should leave home at 18, not knowing that if I would have left 9 years ago, that may have ruined my life and my finances forever.
Talk about it.
I didn't know nothing about being out, and something about when I was like 16, 17 years old let me understand that getting an apartment was not a legitimate investment. And until I learned how to purchase a home, I don't want to be out on my own because it doesn't make sense financially for me to do unless I'm
Mhm.
adding to the wealth of my family, the retail wealth of my family, real estate wealth of my family, then that'll be hurting. So the first thing that people have to do is they have to get a grasp on where they are in their life, as far as their credit, as far as their living situation, as far as all of that stuff. Because if that's not taken care of, then you're going to hear something that you hear on a day-to-day basis in Atlanta. I had to take a break, and now I'm right back.
Okay.
So when
To
your
avoid taking that break, assess your situation is what I'm hearing.
yeah,
Mhm.
when your stuff is more stable and it's more together, then you have the opportunity to go full fledged. The thing that I respect about the industry, I may have said this last time, but if not, I'm glad I get to say it again.
Just for a moment. Listen, he was on fire. Those of you guys who are still on YouTube, on Instagram, go ahead and join us on YouTube by clicking the link in my bio and go ahead. Yep, he's back.
Oh, I'm sorry. Somebody keeps calling me. I got to turn
Okay.
that off. Okay.
No
So
worries. No
uh,
worries.
the thing that I respect about people in the industry is that everybody in life is going through something. Somebody's grandma's sick. Somebody's auntie is strung out. Somebody has a situation over here. Somebody's going through a lawsuit. Everything is going on in the world. Nobody's perfect. Nothing is perfect. So at the end of the day, if you're on this set, if you're doing this role, if you're doing this music video, if you're doing this, doing that, that means that you have the mental strength and emotional strength to push everything to the back so that you can focus on what it is that you want to do in your life in the direction that you want to go.
Hmm.
So that's the first thing that I would tell everybody is to develop that mental toughness by figuring out who you are. Because if you let the industry define who you are, then you're gonna easily what they call sell your soul as soon as you get in. This goes back to what I said earlier. This is not your industry. So at the end of the day, you have to pay a toll in order to
Mhm.
be able to get past the bridge. What toll are you willing to pay to get past that bridge?
Now this is specific. Let me tell you something. I said this the other day. For those of us who grew up in the social media age, like when I say social media, this applies to everything you're saying because we grew up and we saw the people on TV and we said we want to be famous. I want to be a celebrity, right? And then when social media became available to us, stardom and celebrity became available to us because we could become influencers, right? Now, with the current influencers that we have available, there's a level of like stardom and fandom that exists within an industry when everybody is entrepreneurs, everybody's business owners, right? Everybody is moving towards their goal, but they're not aware one of that pecking order. They're not aware of their current situation. And then when they become like in the spotlight or when they become available to like touch one of the influencers that they've already known, they fan out, right? And like you said, there's a payment that has to happen. And I think that a lot of people aren't necessarily aware that that's a payment. Whether it's in your value, we talk about get in the room, add value, right? Or whether it's something else a lot deeper than that, right? And what you're talking about is what a lot of people may not realize, which is this next generation of folks who see that it's possible to go from 0 followers to 5,000 followers to 100,000 followers, right? Which opens a whole bunch of other doors. But there are celebrities and influencers who's already been there, right? The industry is not yours.
Right. There you go.
Going back to your lessons, I'm really applying all your lessons, and I
Hmm.
really love the fact that you're like breaking it down. Can you break down that entry, right? That gate where it's like you said you might have to sell your soul or you have to do something else. What does that look like for some people who successfully manage to like break through the ceiling and for those who might not successfully break through the ceiling?
I'm gonna give you a small example.
Mhm.
This is a lightweight example. This is one of my first examples that I ever got. So I'm on set, and we're doing a cattle call. This is back when I was doing background. A cattle call is when they have more than 200 to 300 people in background. because you may be doing a concert scene, a stadium scene, something like that. So this is when you're extremely insignificant. You're just a blob that's in the background.
Okay.
So I used to like these though because there was a lot of beautiful women that used to come to all of them. So I'm in the tent. I'm flirting with a whole bunch of women. We chilling, and then I have on this Galaxy jacket. They come in the tent and they go, you, and you come here. So I walk outside the tent. I'm like, I hope I'm not in trouble. I didn't do anything. She said she was 18. No, I'm just playing. So we in the tent, and we walk out of the tent. They line us up, and they go, you, and they point to me, and they were like, I'm like, what happened? They were like, the DJ didn't show up today, so we would like for you to be the DJ. And the guy who was standing next to me, he was like, I'm a real DJ. I was like, yeah, man, just give it to him. I'm trying to go back in there and go talk to them girls. I don't give a damn about what they talking about.
You
So
crazy.
the thing about it is that sometimes they'll try to play you to where you'll have more work, but they won't up the pay.
Okay.
So if I'm going to be treated like a blah anyway, I might as well do it for the little bit of pay that I'm getting and
Okay.
continue to flirt with these girls.
Okay.
Mind you, I just said there's 400 people on set. So the more access I have to them, I can gain 400 followers today too. So what happened was that he was like, no, we don't want you. We want him. And they were talking about me. And I said, all right, cool. What I got to do? They said in about 10 minutes, go meet us over there. I said, cool. I go meet them over there. I say, who am I DJing for? Melissa McCartney and Christina Aguilera. So I'm like, okay, are they here? Like, they going to be here today. And they were like, yeah, they're going to be here in about 15 minutes. He was talking to the little man in his ear. And he was like, okay. I said, all right. So I go up there. I start doing my thing. The smoke spews up. And I look over to my right, Melissa McCartney. The smoke shoots up again. I look over to my right, Christina Aguilera. And I'm just like holding my head like this, like, what has my life become so fast? And I'm happy and I'm joyous. And all of the background that just saw me, because I was already super popular. So all the background that seen me come earlier that day to sign in now see me on stage because we were just in the same tent 10 minutes ago. So they all waving to me. They all chanting my name. It's a beautiful, joyous occasion. After they yell cut for the scene, we filmed about 20 takes. Everybody goes back to the tent. I go back to the tent. When I go back to the tent, the guy grabs me and goes, yo, don't go back over there. I'm like, why? He was like, because you're crew now. You can have crew food. You can talk to the crew. But you can't talk to Christina. You can't talk to Melissa.
Okay.
But you can talk to the rest of the crew. And I'm like, if there's no other people on set but us, it's me in the middle. There's the stars, and then there's the people you're saying I can't talk to. So pretty much you're saying I got to be by myself.
Oh, what about the stars?
I can't talk to them.
Okay, so Melissa McCartney and Christina Aguilera, but like nor the stars.
I can't talk to nobody.
Okay.
So now I'm just like, so what do you want me to do? He was like, I don't know what to tell you, but just help yourself to some of this crew food. And then, I don't know, just talk to the crew.
Okay.
The crew is working. Like, this is the cameraman, this is the producer, this is like I'm in a weird space now.
Okay.
Because if I start talking to them and having frivolous conversation from afar, it's going to look like I'm bothering them.
Okay.
I can't talk to the stars because they're getting paid way more than I am to be here, and this is a job. This is not a social event. I can't go back to background and talk to them because now all of a sudden I'm better than them. And I'm going to get in trouble if I go back over there and lose my spot as the DJ. This was the first time that I ever witnessed what it looks like to pay the price of fame.
Oh. At that level too. And that's the crazy thing about it. Like they say, like, you know, being at the top is lonely, but that's your first move, right? And that's the first time you get to experience lonesome.
Yeah.
I understand what you mean now. That makes a lot of sense. And so what you're saying is the price that you paid is the relationships that you had at quote unquote the bottom, right? So how did you decide you were going to navigate to the next level? Or did you decide, okay, I'd rather stay in this lane? What happened next?
Well, this is what happened that changed my mind at the end. Okay. So I'm in line and everybody else that day was getting paid $68 for 8 hours, and we was there for like 14 hours. Once I get in line, the guy that's signing us out goes, "Yo, that's the DJ," and he scribbles off the 68. Because mind you, I told you before I didn't think I was gonna get a pay increase. He scribbles off 68 and he writes 400. And when he wrote 400 on that paper, everything that I thought that I was going through earlier in that day didn't mean a goddamn thing anymore.
Okay.
And I told myself, if I'm gonna get paid 400, and this is entry level, if I'm gonna get paid $400 to $500 a day to be able to eat the best food, even if I got to be alone, that's a price that I'm willing to pay. And I had to come to that realization that I'm willing to do that to move to the next level.
So the quality of life was better. Yes, you let go of a lot of the friends, but you realize at this level you actually get a better quality of life, better food, better experience. So I'm willing to let these jokers go. That's
Yeah.
basically what you said. Forget all the fine ladies.
I mean, not forget them. Shout out to y'all.
Listen, y'all, I love it. I love it. So you said there were two examples. The first one was this story. You said you had two situations. And in
Yeah.
this case, you realized that this was the price of, accelerating in your career.
Hmm.
What was the next story?
Oh man, let me see. Which one do I want to tell?
And
Um,
was it also in the acting industry, or did you experience the same thing in like being an artist in the music industry?
I've experienced I've experienced this just overall. Like okay, let's say, did we talk about the Lil Bow Wow feature last time that I
We
was doing?
did. Listen, y'all, if you guys haven't, so Vigilante talked a little bit about how he got a chance to, one, be in business with Lil Bow Wow, and then two, how that led to where he is today with his new single or his latest single with Dondria. And I actually played a little snippet of the song on my page. So if you haven't, look him up on YouTube, research him, go ahead and check out that song because I actually really like it. You like, oh my,
Thank you.
I feel like I'm dreaming, and I feel like I'm dreaming through your words. One thing, as you're talking, I'm thinking about how this relates to corporate. Because a lot of people will tell you that they would prefer not to get supervisor. They would prefer not to be manager. One, because the first thing that you said, sometimes you get more responsibility without the pay. And they're like, I don't want to do that. And then the other thing is when you become a manager, a lot of your friends, they now are no longer your friends. You can't kick it with them no more. Because
Oh
now you have to like pay their, sign their pay stubs. Now you have to make sure that they get to work on time. So your friends are now like you can't hang out with them even if you want to, because now you start to create that distance between yourself. But
yeah.
oftentimes I don't necessarily hear the silver lining of folks who are in that management position, but it just sounds like if you're there, you don't stop there. So where did you decide to go next after you got that 400? Right? Were you like, okay, I wanted to climb the ladder some more, or did you decide like I'm gonna just ride this wave?
Hell yeah, I wanted to continue to climb that ladder because I started
Okay.
thinking to myself, if they just frivolously handed me $400 to do
Hmm.
pretty much nothing, I didn't do a goddamn thing to do nothing. Then what the hell did Christina and all of these other people get paid? Now I'm not trying to count nobody's pockets, but I've always been the type of person that if you just point me over there to where the money is at, I'm gonna figure it out.
Hmm.
So technically, with them being the stars of the show, they just pointed me to the money. So now what I did was I went back to the drawing board and I realized that Christina Aguilera is mostly known as a pop singer. She probably didn't have to audition for this role, and they probably gave it to her based off of the fact that she's been super famous since I was a kid. And that fame now sustains to where she can do the same thing today, even though this story was told from years ago.
Hmm.
So now I have to build my profile in order to be able to do the exact same thing. If there's one thing that I hate, it's auditioning for roles. I really don't like being in a room and there's 8 other people and they all trying to go for the same role as me and I've got my fingers crossed on which one I'm gonna get. No, 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 no. The way I like to do my movie roles is you have an idea of what you want to do. You like my brand. You like me as an actor. You call me. I shift you either to my management or to my agency. We talk about the money. how we gonna split it, and what the set dates are that we're gonna be filming for. If
Mm-hmm.
that ain't what it is, then I don't give a damn about it, because I don't have no time to waste, and I don't want you to be finicky on your decision on whether or not you want me on your show. Because in movies, it's a lot of money that's moved around.
Mm-hmm.
They spend about $10,000 a day on production. So the fact that you believed in me so much that I didn't have to audition, that's the better of a performance that I'm gonna give you, and the more promotion that you're gonna get for free, because your audience may not be as big as my audience. Now I'm a superstar, humbly speaking. I'm gonna remain humble about that.
I
Now
got
I'm
you.
I'm a
But no,
superstar
but
now.
with 100,000 followers, you have an audience, and you can monetize that not only just through monetization, right, but through promotion and through leveraging your role on the career. So I see where you're going with this.
Yeah. So every time that Denzel and Will does a movie,
Mm-hmm.
no matter who the director is, no matter what the series is, they're so famous that they're bigger than the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So now they have to get paid top dollar. They have to know everything that's going on with the set. They don't even need to show up if they don't want to until it's time for them to film and can leave right after they scene is done and the rest of the movie is getting filmed. Sometimes they don't even know what the rest of the plot is of the movie until they see it in theaters with you.
They just play their part.
Yeah, they play their part and get paid
Mm-hmm.
tens to 20s to 30s to 40s to 50s millions to do
So does
so.
that segue into your ability to get like your ability and your profile on social media with using your blue check to navigate these like negotiations and these opportunities?
Yeah, 100%.
Talk about it then. Because so this part we actually did talk about it on the podcast. Vigilante broke down the back end of getting the blue check. Now, honestly and truly, I didn't even know that this would have been as much of a valuable conversation when we had our interview. When we had
Mm-hmm.
our interview, I was like, okay, well, tell me about how you actually get a blue check. But there's so much more to talk about now that I've been able to see you kind of navigate your career and leverage your blue check, right, to have conversations, because at the end of the day, it's kind of like a resume. I'm a career coach, so I value resumes. I don't necessarily like to make them, but I do recognize that whatever's on your resume is what ultimately gets you in the door. So if you
Mm-hmm.
have that blue check, we're in a system that recognizes the blue check. So for somebody to be able to teach you how to get one, I recognize the value now. I didn't see
Mm-hmm.
that at first. I'll be
Yeah.
honest.
No, it's understood. It's a nuance.
Hmm.
So it has to dawn on everybody, but it's gonna dawn on everybody at a different time.
Yeah.
Social media has a couple billion users. So at the end of the day, only a select few people will be fortunate enough to be able to work hard enough to be able to um, get the blue check and understand the ramifications of how they did it. Because for some people, it just pops up. Like they put in so much work that they just wake up the next day, their check is there.
Hmm.
Other people, such as myself, I found out the steps and then I utilized those steps from each other, and then I was able to get my blue check. Just like I pretty much pointed Instagram in the direction of, okay, I did this, I have this, I got this is me, this right here, this, boom, blue check.
Yep. Now, for those of you, if you want to know the steps, I will tell you, go ahead and check out his podcast episode. I'm going to drop the link if you are watching this on a replay to see. Okay, go back to his episode because he did talk about the specific steps of like getting a Google profile, getting going to do the like having publications and getting your like your brand set up. So the podcast has all that information. But what I want to talk about before we go is some of these pitfalls in social media. So where a lot of people mess up is using social media, but not necessarily capitalizing on their audience, right? Keeping it on social media. And we have to talk about where you are right now in social media because we got to make sure people avoid getting into what you said, social media jail. Did you say jail?
Yeah, social media
So
jail.
talk a little bit about social media jail because I don't know a lot about the blue check, and now I do. I didn't, but now I do. And now I didn't know very much about how you get into social media jail, but I'm sure you can also say how you can get out.
I mean, I wish that I could tell them. All I could tell them is that it's unfortunate that I'm in there, and the way that I feel that I got in there was because I was fortunate enough to be allowed to be inside of the Instagram Reels bonus program.
Okay.
So Instagram pays me $8,000 a month to accumulate 2.4 million views on my page. This is an attempt for them to compete with TikTok and YouTube Shorts. So I went from posting one time a day to posting 4 times a day, and I did that for 2 months. So I'm assuming that the rapid amount of increase in posting landed me in Instagram jail, and that has lasted now in 4 days. It'll make a month. So I'm assuming that my jail stay is a month-long jail stay, and I'm hoping that that's what it is because we're about to start the promo for my celebrity boxing, and I really want to be out of jail by that time so that I can let the people, go on this the full journey with me.
In fact, we talking about jail. It's funny because not it's funny. It's not funny because when you use the J word, honestly, it takes me back to real J word, and I just don't like systems in that way because then people get to regulate you. So you said it was because you were posting 4 times a week, day. You
Mm-hmm.
were increasing your like posting potential, your posting activity, but isn't that what they wanted from you? Like, how much do you feel like you understand about the social media? Or do you feel like you're just getting into a place where now you can apply all this information that you have in these other places, and being in jail is now a place where you have to learn a little bit about this now?
A mixture of both. When I first had this Instagram jail thing happen to me, at first I was like, no, this can't be happening. I got so many different deals that's going on right now that I have to post. And then I was like, you know what? This gives me the perfect opportunity for me to work my other social medias, Snapchat, Twitter, Clubhouse, all the other ones, TikTok, all the other ones that I don't normally get on as much and frequent as much. And then it also gave me the opportunity to take a detox as well. So I took that opportunity, and then I saw that when I did log back in after a couple of weeks, that they actually gave me the opportunity to take a survey to say, hey, do you feel that Instagram flags too many posts? Do you feel
Okay.
that they throw people in jail for lack of a better word? Do you feel
Mm-hmm.
that they throw people in jail for no reason? What is your feedback? Your feedback is value, stuff like this. And I gave it to them. And I know that there's so many trolls on social media that learning to try to they're learning to try to cut that down because that was the detriment to Twitter, and that was the detriment to Facebook in the last wave, not to the current wave, but to the wave before that. And then for those who can remember MySpace, that had a little bit to do with that as well. So they don't want to see Instagram go through the same thing. So I understand. And that's a small price to pay. I mean, my blue check, even though I've been in Instagram jail for a month now, has accumulated probably over $10,000 this month for me and people reaching out to want to be verified and just trusting in my brand and just knowing that I can help them do that. So whatever I had to do in order for me to get mine has been paid back to me tenfold. So it's definitely worth it.
Yeah. Well, thank you for being able to help others learn how to get verified. Again, if you guys want the specific steps on how to do that, then go ahead and check out the episode. But we do have a question. So before we get out of here, you got time for one question?
Yeah, I got as much time as you need.
Okay, cool beans. So you talked about this just a little bit, and I think you can go a little bit deeper into this one to answer the question. But Jeffrey Hughes asks, "How do you get traction with Instagram Reels?
How do you get traction?
How do you get traction with Instagram Reels?"
Um, I would have to specifically look at homie's page, but just the cookie cutter, just broad spectrum of it would
Mm-hmm.
be to post between 9 o'clock and 9 o'clock. That's my advice, and then also to have a title in it that is capturing
Mm.
something something that that people, if take yourself out of yourself and then market to yourself. What would catch your attention if you
Mm-hmm.
were scrolling down your timeline? So with the celebrity boxing thing, I've never personally known anybody that's celebrity boxed. So every time that I post something about celebrity boxing, I know it's catching everybody's eye because I know that not a lot of people have a lot of people that are in tune with that.
Yeah.
So take that same strategy and do the same thing and apply it to your reels. Have great quality, have good transitions, and then get straight to the point. The one thing I don't like about TikTok is that the stuff is not funny and the stuff is very repetitive and the
Mm.
dances are not good. And it's just it's like I can go down a whole bunch of stuff on TikTok. Yes, it's just not. It's not good.
Yeah,
Um.
yeah.
So, but with Instagram, you get the leisure of being both professional and also showcasing your personality at the highest level. So that's what I would say for your reels. Put a couple hashtags. Don't go too crazy. Maybe like 3 to 5 hashtags on what it
Have
is
you?
that you're promoting.
Sorry, I hate to
That's
interrupt, but
okay.
I was wondering, have you heard of those? Because you mentioned the $8,000 on the Reels program,
Mhm.
and I know some people have been in the Reels program with 5,000 followers, with 1,000 followers. So, do you are you a part of any communities that are talking about how you go from not being in the Reels program to being in the Reels program?
I'm not personally in the community, but the guidelines are available to the
Hmm.
public.
Hmm.
And what the guidelines are you have to post one reel per day, and you have to accumulate 1,000. I want to say likes. What do reels do? Reels don't do views. Reels do likes. A
Reels do
thousand
views. Hmm.
with reviews. Okay,
Hmm.
so but I don't know whether they go off of the views or the likes because the views show on one page and the likes show on another page.
Yeah, your
So
likes show on
I'm gonna
your
go with the like.
main profile. Hmm.
Yeah, on your main profile, the like show, and on your view profile, the views show.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say that it has to be 1,000 likes just because that's the one that has the bottom
Mm.
number.
Hmm.
So and then I noticed that once I did start doing that and start focusing more on reels and getting my page more focused on reels because everything has a different algorithm. IGTV, the long posts, photos, uh, regular videos that are under a minute, and Instagram Reels. They all have 4 different algorithms on your page.
Yeah.
So,
I think that the thousand, I think that that has to apply to the views because I think a lot of people like they'll post a reel and it'll get 1,000 views, but they'll get like 31 likes.
likes.
But
Mhm.
if you guys have a thought on that as well, feel free to add it. But Jeffrey, thank you for your question because um we got to get as much sauce out of Vigilante as we can. So
I got
before
time. I got time.
Good. Well, we're getting ready to wrap up, but first of all, I just want to say thank you for joining us. And
Hmm.
then, as it relates to you continuing on, you got this celebrity boxing going on. Are there any other projects that you're working on that allows you to, like you say, make your life a pageant project?
Absolutely. Probably about 2 hours ago, I was just at Tracy Mitchell's studio. She is the head of This Is 50 South. So everybody that's familiar with This Is 50 North in Atlanta, it's one of the biggest media platforms in the world where all of the celebrities go to do their press run when they go to Sway and the Breakfast Club. They go to This Is
Okay.
50 as well. So she had a meeting with Ooh Wee Drinks, and Ooh Wee, the CEO of Ooh Wee, was in there at the same time that I was doing my interview. I mean, about to do my interview with Nate Dyer. So shout out to him. And so now he's going to be a part of. Long story short, we had a conversation, and he got a chance to look at my page, and he's going to be endorsing me in my celebrity boxing campaign because these drinks are um, adult beverages, but they are also holistic beverages as well.
Mm-hmm.
So this is like a healthy adult drink.
Okay.
And
Do you have any information on how we can get it?
yeah, it's on the joint. I'm gonna try to get it to where it focuses.
Okay. Okay. So Instagram at Ooh We Drinks. I got you.
Uh-huh. So y'all make sure
Okay.
y'all follow them.
Congratulations on that move.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm excited. I'm extremely excited because now I get to show everybody that I've partnered with. Shout out to Blessed Footsteps as well. I
Hmm.
get to show everybody that I've partnered with, all my new partners, and put them in the light of HBO, Showtime, and whatever network that the boxing thing is going to be on as well. Showcasing my skills, blending my brand with whatever celebrity it is that I'm gonna be boxing against, and then
Hmm.
also doing the press conference, the weigh-in, the road to the 24/7, just all of that. So that's like my main focus right now is just getting all that content together. I'm teaching the CEO of the athletic brand Sankofa that I'm partnering with how to create the footage for ourselves, license it to the network, get a check for the licensing, allow them to get paid during the meantime while we're doing the promo, and then after the fight, get the footage back so that we re-own the footage and continuing to do that on a continuous basis.
Jeez Louise. Okay, well, we're gonna have you back for one, how that play went. And
Uh-huh.
then two, after you get out of social media jail, you gotta come back and tell us how it happened, okay?
That's so funny to hear, but yeah, yes,
Listen, you know what happens in the Black community when our partners get out of jail.
right,
We're
right.
gonna throw a party. We're gonna throw a party for you when you get out, okay?
I appreciate that. It's much needed.
Let's go. All right, guys. So those of you guys who are watching, thank you so much for tuning into the Work and Play replay. We just had a really good conversation with Mr. Vigilante, Mr. Remarcus Vigilante Still. I thank you for sharing your journey from artist to actor to now celebrity boxer, and then also you being an influencer and being able to break down the system and how that actually works. So without any other things, feel free to let us know how we can follow you. We're on YouTube right now, so folks might want to come on Instagram and check you out too.
Oh yeah, so that's at Vigilante LOM, Vigilante LOM, Vigilante Visuals on YouTube, Vigilante Vivo on Vivo. Do you mind if I say one more thing?
Absolutely.
Okay, because I feel like that sometimes I leave out my artistry, and I don't give the artist enough information for them to be able to make it in the industry. So I'm gonna drop some gems on y'all right quick as I depart. The thing about right now is that when the African American community gets a hold of something, we kind of oversaturate it. So when we got the ability to rap, and we got the ability to have home studios and have SoundCloud links and have YouTube links, we flooded it. It's now worth nothing. It has no value anymore. And so you're going to spend your money in your passion project with the music, and nothing's going to come of it that is tangible and monetizable until you reach a certain stature. So that's why all of my advice is stature, stature, stature. Because in music, everything is on you. No label, no artist development, no partnership with a brand, no nothing is going to do anything to show you the correct moves to make in music. They're going to fall in place organically. And going viral is not what it used to be back in the day. So I just encourage all of my artists out there to have the most professional presentation that you can possibly have, to be authentic with your artistry, and to also focus more on your budget and the direction that you want your song to go in rather than the amount of music that you put in. I don't want anybody to fall in line in the hamster wheel of everybody in the industry, the distribution, the manager, the PR, everybody getting paid except for you to work on you.
Yeah.
That makes no sense. A zero ROI makes no sense, especially as grown individuals.
Mm-hmm.
I heard a song the other day. It's called "Feeds You" by my boy Yoda. So that's a beautiful shout out for him.
Let's go.
And it had a really really great melody to it. And my advice to him was, go hit up Derez Deshawn or go hit up Moray. And for those who don't know who Moray is, that's the guy who sings Quicksand. Go hit up them. Go see how much they charge. Go take your ass to work. Go stack that bread up. And then keep this right here as your demo and your reference track. And then when you get that bread, get them on that track. And then that's going to be your claim to fame, because it's already your single by itself. But if you put them on it, you out of here. Do it the correct way.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Before you get up out of here, basically you want to drop some gems on branding and promotion as we started this whole conversation. Yeah. So thank you guys for tuning in. If there are anybody, if there is anyone out here who's an artist, a corporate professional, a 9-to-5er, an actor, and they're trying to figure out how do they brand themselves on social media, off of social media, on the radio stations, on HBO, you need to reach out to Vigilante. It's Vigilante LOM on Instagram. And we're here on YouTube. So just drop a comment if you want to talk to him. And I'm sure he'll get back to you. So without further ado, Vigilante, thank you so much for joining us on the Work and Play replay. Don't go nowhere because we're going to be up out of here. Those of you guys who are here tuning in on YouTube, peace out.